there, and welcome to another episode of whatever we're calling this month. If you're new here, my name is Summer Cannon. I am a horror writer, but for the sake of this channel, I am a horror reader, horror fan. And on this channel, I want to talk about the things that I like. Only good things here, only positive vibes, so welcome. Hope you stick around. I read, so we're doing March's reading recommendations this month, and I only read 2 books in March. For fun. I had a couple of editing jobs I read for, but man, I really got to kick up my reading. My reading goal every year is to read 35 books. And that's because I have a bullet journal where I track all of this stuff, and I draw like a thermometer where you fill in the red lines until you fill up the thermometer. You know how they used to do for fundraisers back when we were kids? And I picked 35. I know that sounds kind of like an arbitrary number, but it's because in this bullet journal, there are only 35 spaces between all the bullets. So it's what my bullet journal tells me I should read every year. And for the most part, I'm able to just squeeze it in. Last year, I did not. I only got to 20 last year, but I did a whole lot of blurbing and I did a whole lot of editing towards the end of the year last year. So hopefully I'm able to kind of rally and get a little more reading done. But I have 2 books I want to talk about. Both of them I had a lot of fun with. So, hi there. So the first book I want to talk about it's called Cry of the Banshee, History and Hauntings of West Virginia and the Ohio Valley by Susan Sheppard. I bought this book in the gift shop of the Mothman Museum in Point Pleasant, West Virginia. We went to West Virginia a few times last summer to see family, and also my oldest son has been wanting to go to Point Pleasant for years, and he has some sensory issues. So we decided to go to Point Pleasant at a time when the Mothman Festival was not going on. And having done that and having seen how actually sincerely small Point Pleasant is, it was a good idea, because I think it would have been a little difficult for all 4 of us to have gone when they say it's between 15 and 30,000 people every year who cram into this tiny town. And there are no hotels in Point Pleasant. You have to go across the river into Ohio to get into the hotels. And they are motels over there, and they are 2-star hotels at best. Like if we're doing out of 5 stars, they're 2 stars. Not super clean. They did have awesome breakfast though, so I will say that. But I had a fantastic time. If you ever decide to go to Point Pleasant and do the Mothman experience, absolutely play the Mothman golf, mini golf that they have indoors. Absolutely do the tour where the guy who he's a resident of Point Pleasant. He writes all the books. Not the Mothman Prophecies. This is a different guy, but he owns the Mothman Museum. He's kind of keeping the legend alive. You pile into a van with a bunch of other people and you drive around Point Pleasant. He takes you to places that are notorious. If you know the Mothman legends, it was worth every penny. It was a ton of it. I don't want to say fun. It was fun, but it was also super informative. This guy's a great storyteller. And it was worth every penny, worth every second. The town itself is really into the whole Mothman thing. There was a cafe where you could go and buy Mothman cookies. There are Mothman pizza shops. There was a Mothman burrito place. Look, it's a little ridiculous, but it's all in good fun. If you go, it's worth it. It really is. But anyway, I bought this because I'm from West Virginia. I grew up there. I lived there until I was 22. A lot of family still lives there. My family, who are West Virginians, we have been in the state for several generations. We're not people who, my parents just moved there. No, we are old West Virginians. So I do feel like the folklore there sort of lives in my bones. And this book, the stories that she talks about takes place in the Marietta, Ohio, Point Pleasant area, but it also takes place in Parkersburg, in Doddridge County, West Union. Doddridge County and West Union. West Union is a town in Doddridge County. I spent a lot of my life there. I have family there. And it was kind of exciting for me to read about places that I know these places, I'm familiar with these places. So this isn't all just ghost stories. The majority, I would say, of the stories in this are ghost stories, particularly in Parkersburg. They talk about Blennerhassett Island in this. And I did feel, because this is kind of a, you see, it's a thicker book. I did feel that we got a little bloated when talking about Parkersburg in particular. There was just a bit much. However, the Mothman stories that are in this, the parts about Indrid Cold, like, fantastic writing. Susan Sheppard really knows how to spin a yarn. Like, this is a fun read, and I enjoyed it. I loved this book, and I can't see why you wouldn't be able to get this on Amazon. But like I said, I bought it probably for too much money from the Mothman Museum in Point Pleasant, and I had a great time reading it. So if you happen to run across this, if you go to Point Pleasant and you see this book in the gift shop of the Mothman Museum, pick it up. It's a fun read. The other book I want to talk about, back when Vortex Books was still physical, I went to a signing with Ronald Malfi and the author of this book, and she was like quite possibly one of the nicest people I've ever met. Like, gloriously sweet and personable. And I was going to pick up this book no matter what, but I will always remember, like, holy crap, you are so nice. And now I can say, holy crap, you're an awesome writer. And that book is White Trash and Recycled Nightmares by Rebecca Rowland. And you know what? So this is a short story collection. And I do, when I read too many, because these are both, obviously, they're not one long narrative. It's little chunky short stories. I have a tendency to buy a lot of these and I'll read them back to back. And I find myself getting sort of fatigued with the short story thing. And I have to make sure I read a single long story in between them, or else I'm not giving these short story collections a fair shake like I should be, just because I've read too many. I wonder if that happens with anybody else. Like, it happens with lots of things. It happens most notably with short stories with me, just because I buy collections and anthologies like crazy. I'm someone who believes that a short story really tests a writer's mettle. If you can write a great short story, I have faith in your ability to write longer form stories as well. I don't know, I have no scientific evidence of this, but it has proven true more often than not for me. And I have too many, and I end up reading them back to back, and I end up getting sick of them, and I know I'm not giving the books a fair shake. So what I'll do is, stick a schlocky paperback from the 80s in there, and it kind of resets me. But I also, if I have too many schlocky paperbacks, I get sick of that. I find it kind of forces me into a reader slump, and I have to kind of shake it up with something maybe a little more literary. 'Cause I like just about anything. There pretty much isn't anything off limits to me as a reader, but too much of one thing kind of ruins the flow. Having said that, I was surprised by how much and how thoroughly I really liked all of the stories in White Trash and Recycled Nightmares. You know what it reminded me of? Not The Twilight Zone, but do you remember the show Tales from the Dark Side? This collection and the order of the stories. And I think sometimes publishers don't put enough emphasis on the order of the stories in collections and anthologies. When it's done well, it affects the flow of what you're reading. Even though the stories are standalones for the most part, they don't share a shared universe for the most part, the order means something, especially lengthwise. Like, you want to put your longer stories in the middle and have, like, it's like a build up and then a wind down. The order of the stories in this and their content, it just reminded me of the Tales from the Dark Side show. They're all so good. They were all engaging. I had a fantastic time reading this book. And I will absolutely be buying more from this author because I think she's wonderful. On top of being one of the nicest human beings I've ever met, she is a fantastic author. I was engaged, I was happy, I was into it. And really, it should have been time for me to be like, oh, I need to get through this. There are too many short stories. I just want one long story. Don't worry, we're fixing that right now. But no, that didn't happen. I totally recommend this book. And that's it. That's the two for March. Hopefully April has more. The book that I'm reading now is, it's not a horror book. It's called Words Fail Me, What Everyone Who Writes Should Know About Writing by Patricia T. O'Connor. This is a writer book, It's a sort of a refresher on what I should know as both a writer and editor. And I mean, honestly, it's pretty good so far. If I like it, I'll talk about it. And yeah, I guess that's it. I will have, so we're in April now. I have my first author event at the end of this month, April 25th, at the Ephrata Public Library, where I will be there slinging books. And I don't know if we're going to do readings or do a Q&A. The last time I did an event at the Ephrata Public Library, we did a Q&A and it was lots of fun. And I'll put a thing up here because if I show it to you, it'll look backwards. New re-release from me, my short story collection, which was previously put out through Thunderstorm Books, Picking You Out of My Teeth, is now back out. It is available in ebook and paperback on Amazon. And I now have physical copies in my shop if you want to buy signed copies from me. No pressure, just letting you know. And that'll be it for me this month. Maybe I'll have a little more to talk about next month. I was thinking about doing a video. Long time ago at the very beginning of this channel, I did a video where it was kind of like a how-to on how to set up your table when you do events. When you vend somewhere or you do an event at a library, you want to do certain things to set up your table. And that got a lot of positive response from people. People come up to me and tell me, oh, I saw that video and that really helped me, which, oh my goodness, if you tell me that something I did helped you, it's such a big deal to me because I feel like I'm useful and that's the best thing you can do for me. Tell me I'm useful. So I was thinking, just because I keep seeing this one flub that I see my fellow authors making, and I'm not judging them, but it frustrates me because it's an easy, unforced error. And I was thinking about maybe doing a very basic, how to promote a book. And it's a shit show for all of us because in the indie scene, there are so many of us. We have to do our own promoting. If you're not already one of the big names, you fall into like this pool of a million other faces, a million other names, and it's very hard to get attention. But you will get more attention if you don't make these mistakes that are very easy to fix. For instance, when you post a selfie of yourself holding a book like this, and you see the writing's backwards, you can't read that. It's 30 seconds to go in and flip the picture so that you can then read the writing on this book. So when you post on social media, you holding a book and being very excited about it, which is fantastic. Put your face out there, put your book covers out there, credit your cover artists, but please take the second to flip the picture so that you can read the writing. That is so, look at me, I'm getting worked up. That is so easy. I may or may not. I don't always love doing something where I place myself as some sort of authority because I hate promoting my books. I hate, especially now in the way things are with the world, there are more important things to talk about. It feels icky being like, hey, do you want to buy my book? And I've seen other authors also voice that concern because it does. There is a sense of like you're bothering people because there is some very real shit going down in the world, and it feels like you're imposing on people by saying, hey, read my book, even though I know, and for me, in my stance as a reader, please promote your books. If you put out something I want to read, I would like to know about it. Please promote your books. But in my stance as an author, it's like, ooh, I don't want to bother you with this. There's other stuff going on, you know, and that's the way of things. There's only so much we can do to get around that. And, But anyway, that's it for me. I will see you all next month, maybe sooner. I hope you're following me on this channel because I do occasionally post shorts that are just pure idiocy, a break from the overwhelming, oh my God, going on in the world. So let me distract you for a little bit, I guess. That'll be all. I will see you all in a month. Bye-bye.